Morning. It's day 60 on my journey on meds, and today I'm doing pretty well. Slept like a baby last night. It was wonderful. I didn't need Zopiclone to do it, which is great. Excuse me. Just had breakfast. Right. Anyway, I didn't need Zopiclone again. And I'm gradually beginning to sleep pretty well without it. So, which is good because I don't want to be dependent on any kind of drugs to relax me. In fact, I'm only taking one tablet a day now, which is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I hope that my 30-minute video yesterday was helpful to some of you, because I know that it's often quite hard to admit that you do need help, especially when it comes to mental health and stuff, because it's really difficult to kind of own up to failings, or perceived failings that you have. But I wanted to kind of set the record straight and inform people why I'm actually doing this, because it's very easy to sit on the sidelines and say, what are you doing this for? What's all this about? And until you actually discuss it with people, then they're always probably going to get the wrong idea. Now, I don't spend my days obsessing about mental health issues. I don't spend my days constantly focusing on them. I do live my life as well. My day-to-day life. I'm quite productive these days. I've been in constant activity, for the last 2 months now. But this is a journey I needed to make. It really is a journey I needed to make. I needed to get back to basics, get back in touch with myself, and hopefully encourage others to do the same, because that's one thing I don't want you guys to forget. This isn't just for me, this is for you as well. This is your page as much as mine. So please use it, share as much as you can about your experiences if you feel comfortable doing so. And that way we can all help each other, as I've said, numerous times since I started doing this. And, it's been really, really good to kind of get stuff out and not be so insular all the time. Because that's the thing, you might see somebody that who is like really lively and bubbly and vivacious and stuff like that. And you might think, oh, they're really nice, they've got loads of energy and stuff like that. But nobody ever knows what goes on behind closed doors in a person's life. And that's what I wanted to... That's what I wanted to kind of share, I suppose. Because it's very easy for anyone on the outside to form an opinion of you based on what little they might know about you. They say that a lot of people make up their mind about someone within a few seconds of meeting them. Which I actually find is quite unfair. Because when you meet somebody, you could be meeting them when they're having a bad day, or, they might be going through some things, at that particular time. So you don't always get an accurate impression of someone. But these people that say, oh, I know what a person's like within seconds of meeting them. How do you know that? How do you actually know that? Until you sit down and you talk to them about their experiences and, their background and their education and things like that. How are you actually going to know? It really, really pisses me off when people get written off so quickly. I know from my own life experience that I have actually been written off quite a bit myself by the outside world. But there's one of two ways that you can deal with that. You can either fight it, you know, by being aggressive or being, you know, confrontational or whatever, or you can actually deal with it in a much more constructive and much more healthy way, which is to kind of do things and say things that prove them wrong. You know, because I'll be honest, I don't like judging people on a first impression. I don't like it at all, because I find it is very, very rarely accurate. It's very, very rarely accurate. Now, everything that makes a person up is very, very complicated. You know, there is a lot more to a person than just what you might see on the surface. But that's the problem with society these days. You know, it only tends to be the surface that actually matters. You know, and it's quite unnerving, really, to think that the real substance of a person's life or of a person's character gets ignored. Because I tell you something, when things are going well and everything's hunky-dory or whatever, you know, people look at you on the outside. But it's only when things are hard and tough and maybe even damn near impossible, that's when you realise what a person is really about, when things aren't going so well. That's when you see them as a complete entity, you know. That's when you see them as a complete entity, and that's when you see the real substance within them. And I just wish that this world was more tolerant of people who were different, shall we say. I mean, somebody once said to me, you know, sure, you're different, but you've got a really good heart. Now, I often get that, you know, these people say to me, oh, Nadeem, you're so understanding, you care so much about people, and you're so easy to talk to. Maybe. But I've had a lot of battles as well. You know, I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always so open and honest about how I was feeling. I mean, I remember going back to my mid to late 20s, for example. You know, I lied like a trooper to everyone that cared about me. But it was because I was struggling with a lot of things. Excuse me. It's because I was struggling with a hell of a lot of things, a hell of a lot of issues. And I didn't quite know how to deal with them, so I escaped. You know, anything bad happened to me, I'd just turn and run. Wouldn't face up to anything, you know. And that was a hard thing to get over and to change. Because when you're used to running from things, you know, it's very, very hard to kind of change your outlook and say, you know what, this time I'm not going to run from stuff, I'm just going to turn and face it. And that's what I'm doing here now on this particular journey. What I'm trying to do is confront everything that I've gone through and just been as open and honest as possible. And you know what? I'm glad that I've been that way, because I can now see how much people really care, you know, and how supportive people will be if you just learn to let them in. You know, sometimes if you hold your hands up and you say, I need help, that isn't a weakness. You know, a lot of people think it is, but it isn't. That's actually a sign of great strength. It is. You know why? Because you're admitting that you're having issues. You're admitting that you've got a problem. You're admitting that you're not doing so well at a particular moment in time. And you know what? There's nothing more courageous than that. Nothing. Nothing at all. Anyway, I've been prattling on again for over 10 minutes, so I'm going to get going now, and I will speak to you all later. Okay, bye.